Hi, I'm Amy Shore, and I live in Bexley, Ohio. And in February of 2015, I missed the first step coming down the stairs in my house and went headfirst down the stairs and landed on my head and ended up with a concussion. I saw several doctors and had headaches, dizziness, blurry vision, and the dizziness kept getting worse and worse. And it wasn't until I actually saw one of the doctors that treats the Blue Jackets that he recognized I had a concussion. So he sent me to vestibular physical therapy, and I did that for 4 weeks, and it wasn't getting better, and that physical therapist was the one that recognized I need Dr. Curtis. As I mentioned, I had headaches, I had blurry vision, but by far the worst thing was the dizziness, and my sense of center was off by about 10 degrees. So I was like that really bad shopping cart that kept turning and couldn't stop turning. And so I really was struggling with driving. I was very sensitive to light. I couldn't go to the grocery store anymore. I couldn't really stand fluorescent lighting at all. And it got to the point where I was not able to work full time and I wasn't functioning in my life. It was just so frustrating because I'm used to going a million miles an hour, and being debilitated on the sofa in the dark was just wasn't going to work. And so I wasn't a happy camper. Well, I hadn't heard of it, and and there isn't a lot of material out there to read about it. But I trusted the physical therapist who referred me to Dr. Curtis, and then as soon as I met him, I trusted that he could help me. But I was very nervous because, you know, the whole experience was something I'd never heard of before. So the staff was always very friendly, and very prompt, and so I really appreciated that. The first few days are the roughest. You know, as you're going through the color changing portion of the therapy, the red days, and I know you guys hear this all the time, the red days were the toughest because my symptoms actually got a little worse. But it was, you know, it didn't take a long time, and it was, and I really needed to have somebody bring me though. They are going to say to you, we recommend you have somebody drive you, and you really should. So I started feeling immediately better at the end of the 12 days, and I was functioning better. I was still pretty fluorescent light sensitive, but I could tell that my level of being able to function, especially being able to go back to work, started getting better immediately. When you're used to going a million miles an hour, you're like, really? I'm gonna sit in the bathroom and stare at this light? But I continued to get better, and it actually became calming. And I used audiobooks to help pass the time while I was doing it, and it actually became sort of a meditative time. So I probably tried to go back to full steam ahead too quickly. And so I actually, for about 6 months after the home light box therapy, continued to do some home therapy with the colored goggles and a light bulb. And so it was really a immediate improvement. I pushed myself too far, thought, oh, I must be 100%. And then I had to manage through that home therapy with the goggles and the bulb in order to get myself back on track. And I still have to really manage my environment. All of my symptoms improved. The headaches really pretty much went away. The dizziness went away for the most part. If I'm exposed to a lot of fluorescent lighting or strobe lighting, the dizziness will come back. And the only real permanent symptom is just a hearing loss. I have hearing loss in my left ear as a result of the fall. So I need more sleep than I did before, and I think it's just my brain telling me you need more downtime. And I avoid exposure to like big, wide open fluorescent light places like Home Depot and Lowe's. If I go in there, I learned from Dr. Curtis, just wear a baseball hat. and or sunglasses, so sometimes I pretend I'm Sandra Bullock in the store wearing a baseball hat and sunglasses. But it helps me, I can go in the environment without having a recurrence of symptoms. For me, it helped me get my life back. I mean, I wasn't getting answers from traditional methods. You know, if you're in a situation where you're struggling to get better, by all means, you know, come see Dr. Curtis and go through the therapy, because it can really help. He was the first person who really understood what I was saying. You know, the fact I was struggling with the memory loss, or I was struggling with transposing letters in words. I've never been dyslexic, and he was the first one that helped me understand what I was going through made sense. And he was really accessible. There were times when I was on lightbox therapy that we went on vacation and I started experiencing symptoms. So he and I were texting back and forth while I was on vacation. He was telling me what I needed to, you know, better do to manage what I was going through. And so he was encouraging, and it was very comforting to me to finally have someone who understood everything that was happening.